Hey guys, hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to draw Link from Tears of the Kingdom. So with this, you might think, oh, let's start with some of the details of his head, but no, we're going to plan this out. So I'm going to draw a shape for his head. There's his head shape. I'm going to construct him up. He's got an arm that comes sort of around and across here, and this is going to be his hand. So I'm just simplifying him into shapes first, and that's where his elbow is there, and then it comes into his shoulder. His shoulder comes down, his belly, and then he's got his big waist sort of area here. He's got all his belt and buckles and stuff off here. Now he's got a leg that's coming forward, and that's like his knee. You got to plan, you can construct your work up. Who's ever done an awesome drawing and it's run off the page because they didn't plan it out? They did all the details, got it looking great, and then didn't fit. I know that's happened to me before. That's why you construct up your drawings, making sure that they do fit. This one's a bit more side on. Now, because I'm just constructing it up with basic shapes to get the proportions, later on we can get all the details from there. So that's he's got a bit more of a chin, comes down a bit. There's a little less of a gap there. That's the front of him. Then his arm comes out sort of here. And he's holding his arm. Now, if you've played the game, I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, but I have played Zelda A Link to the Past, which was one of the early games. There's his hand there. And I remember when I was a kid, Zelda was out, and that's going to be his cape. So at the moment, doesn't look anything special. In fact, it looks quite funny. And then he's got some weaponry off, some other bits off here. Trying to get these angles correct. That's where his leg and his hips would be. There's his waist. He's got his hair in here. Yeah. He's got his eye. His nose is going to be there. His mouth. And his hair. The leg's going to come up a bit. Yeah. Maybe even make that a little bit longer. In this drawing, I'm going to use a 0.3 multi-liner. Let's start with his nose. Comes down and around and back up like that. He's got a line for the mouth. And his bottom lip. Then we're going to bring his jawline in, come down and around. Just going to come back up with a thinner line there, and then another line on this sort of angle. Now he's got some hair. So I'm going to bring his hair down, like so. This is going to be his hair that comes over onto his shoulder. And it comes back up and in there, like so. Then he's got another piece of hair directly above his head. Just bring that up, a line like that. Another line. Major piece of hair that comes down. 1, 2, 3 bits like that. Then he's got another piece of hair that comes around here. And then he's got his other bits of hair jaggering off like that. Now this is the other part of his face. Now you're going to see this eye fairly well. So let's put his eye in. Line down. Bring that around like so. 1, two oval shapes. He's got an eyebrow in there, and then he's got another eye over here that you don't see much of. There's his face, then he's got his neck around. Now let's bring his arm on. Let's start with just underneath here. He's got a bit that comes down and around for his arm, like that. Bring that around. He's got this like little triangle pattern there with another couple of lines. Now this is a tricky drawing with lots of detail, so feel free to pause it, fast forward. This is a full drawing tutorial. I'm not going to speed it up. But there is all chainmail in there. So he's got some arm on. Now his arm comes down into his elbow. It comes down. We have a line for his elbow there. His arm comes up. Now he has this band that comes in here first. Like that, with some patterns like so. One, other way, two, and then back the other way, three. Now he's got his leather glove coming up, comes around like that, then it comes in. Let's bring it to where it forms his hand. So that's like a wrist guard, I would assume, with a little diamond there. And then he's got like a cool Z shape. Now, if we were to do all this detail as we were going, imagine getting all that detail done and then it just ran off the page. That would be frustrating. That's why we've planned our drawing out. Then on, let's draw his hand. Comes up. This is like a leather glove. 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. And then he's got his thumb coming like that. And then he's got this little cool pattern on his glove. Like this. With an emblem in there, and it's pretty tricky. There we go, there's his, and then don't forget his little fingers, and his thumb. Now he's holding his arm, so his arm comes through and into there, and then you see a bit more of his hair coming down here, just in front of him there. So put a few hairlines in there, and when we colour all that in, that's going to look way better too. Now let's continue his arm now, but if you've played the game, you'll know it's King Raru. I think that's how you say it. Put a couple of little stripes on there on his arm. Might just draw all his arm all the way through. He's got a fairly long arm, and then he's sort of reaching out. So that's where his wrist is going to be. And then he's got his hand, and he's got a finger. His first finger comes up. He's got quite pointy sort of fingers. 1, 2, 3 bits there. That's his index finger. And then he's got some bits and pieces on it, like some sort of guard. It comes around like so. And he's got his other finger there with a guard on it there. Then you see this one. The guard bit there, and then you see his thumb, and then finger here. So his thumb comes out like this with a guard on it. There's his wrist. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers and a thumb. Let's put on some of the detail that comes around on his arm, on his hand. Fingers are hard to draw. Put some little lines around there. Now all this detail is super tricky. Sort of patterns like so. Coming around. A couple little stripes. And then this sort of kicks up and around like this. Comes back down. There's his arm. You know, is that perfect? It's not identical, but I've done a pretty good job. He's got a bit of a collar through there. Not going to see much of that detail in there. Okay, so there's his face and his hand. Let's finish his hair off. This one I would say is a more complex drawing. Now, if you're finding it tricky, don't give up. Just keep practicing. Now he's got this sort of like hooded jacket on, or cape. Comes around like that. So all his hair is sort of up and into there as well. So just finishing that off. It comes around. And then this cape flows out the back. And it comes up, around, back down, up, and around, back in through there. He's got like this shoulder pad type pattern on. A bit tricky to see. There's his shoulder pad. And here's a part of it now. His cape also comes down and around like this, so it's all folded over. And there's a couple of little white bits on there, which I'll put on with the gel pen later on. Let's bring down this part. Okay. Now let's bring back his. Now let's focus on his midsection. It's kind of tricky because he's got all these, not only has he got belts and buckles, he's got arrows and all sorts, and some of it's a bit hidden with some of the shadow work. So this is a belt that comes around here. A higher belt. It's got quite a few belts on, so I'm just going to draw it. Buckle with a strap coming up and around the back of him there, and then he's got another piece that comes down a bit further, and he's got one major belt buckle through the middle here, so I'm going to draw that on. So about there, drawing a shape like a C with the buckle coming through like that. The belt comes around. There's the belt that comes through here. It comes up to a shape like that, and then around it is this sort of shape. There, underneath, there's another buckle that comes here with 2 straps on it there. Then that comes around and hits this piece that comes down like that up there. This one continues through, then joins up with that one. Then there's a couple more pieces. Then it's blue there. You can see how many straps and leathered armor he's got on. It's pretty cool. And that comes down and around like this and back up into there. That's his all. So that's pretty much all leather through there. Okay, this is a piece of fabric that's sort of underneath his leather, and then he has a bit of a white piece here. Another bit that kicks out and around like that. Now he's got all this chainmail that's going to join onto there, so let's just get his leg, so his leg would come down. And that's his leg into there. His other leg is coming out this way, coming down. There's his kneecap, a couple of little folds in his pants, and then he's got this boot, the big front part of his boot, leather boots coming in like that, and then he's sort of got the front of his foot there. And it goes into the side, got a bit of a heel, and it kicks into there.